Silver goes to $50. This is exactly what we said more than multiple months ago, and in our last video we did say that silver should test the level of $35 before it goes even higher to higher prices, essentially to 44. This was exactly at this point where silver did correct to $36, and then it had this magnificent rise to 42. We're now at the brink of actually reaching our level that we discussed in the last video, and now we want to update on how it's going to continue and whether or not we reach the $50 mark. Hello and welcome to yet another video from Bloomberg Capital. My name is Patrick, and today we want to present you an update video for our silver price predictions, as our analysis has been on point so far. Now we are at $42 and we are set to rise even higher as the silver price is not showing any type of weakness so far. Moreover, it has now become stronger than gold, and gold has had its magnificent rally since the 1st of January 2024. This is exactly when we said that gold should rise in a very long-term bull market. See how much price has done so far, and this is exactly what we're also expecting from silver. So, what are the key fundamental factors? First of all, I want to highlight that we discuss this more or less on the daily, and we also discuss mining stocks that are associated with silver and gold that also rise much more strongly than these two precious metals do. Since the underlying is gaining in value, these silver mining stocks are basically companies that own the land where the silver has been getting sourced from, and if the silver price goes up 10%, their bottom line grows by 10%. So they are less likely to lose their value and will increase their value more than silver over time, since they are just gaining so much from the price rise and they already own the land and the machines to really source this material and make it really sellable to the public. Therefore, mining stocks are very, very nice to look at the moment, and this is exactly what we discuss in our Discord, and you can join for free there in our community. If you are interested in your favorite stock or a company, you can ask us and we will give you the best-in-class analysis for that. And maybe you are also interested in our premium offering, where we analyze over 180 stocks, cryptos like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and the precious metals as silver and gold. Highly encourage you to check that out, and let's continue now with the reasons on why silver is rising and why it is such a big bull market that we are yet about to see. First of all, in the Jackson Hole event, and the video you can find about that is on the right hand corner, Fed Chair Powell, essentially to summarize that video, said that they're going to lower interest rates. He wasn't really saying that it's a sure thing. However, he did allude to that, and he would never pick very clear words like, we're going to cut interest rates. So what we did is really get into the bottom line of this and look at the market on how treasuries are currently performing. And treasuries are telling us that interest rates are going to fall by quite a bit. There is a significant fall to be had, and currently we do think it is also likely that in the next Fed meeting that we are having next week, we can even see an interest rate cut of 50 basis points, which would be significant, and it would also bolster the price of gold and silver very much. Therefore, this is currently the point where we want to watch for the price action in gold and silver, as it is really reactive to those interest rates decisions. What happens now if the interest rates go lower? Well, the price of gold and silver goes up, and this is the bottom line that you need to know. But if you are really interested, well, the dollar will weaken, and since price of silver is denominated in dollars, it should rise therefore. So essentially, silver may not even gain in intrinsic value, even though demand is there, but it should simply evaluate it higher because the dollar is losing its value. Furthermore, we are now in an ESG environment, which means that companies are investing more and more money into, for instance, renewable energies, and photovoltaic solar panels are one of those components. Those require silver. If the demand for this is still rising, therefore, silver will also rise in demand. We don't only need silver for solar panels though, we also need it for electric vehicles, 5G technology, and even AI infrastructure. So this entire play here is catered towards silver as it's going to rise in demand due to the technology simply being in the hype cycle at the moment. Furthermore, stockpiles of silver have been shrinking for the 5 last consecutive years. Therefore, it is very likely that we are going to see some sort of a supply shock as the London Exchange and the COMEX are simply not having enough stockpiles that would really give us that silver that we all need. And therefore, if demand is really high but supply is really low, price goes up. Additionally, mining output from the companies that we already talked about isn't really increasing in pace. Why? Well, because these companies that are currently having the silver that they can sell and they're also sourcing it from the land they own, well, it wouldn't be in their best interest to simply mine even more because they're getting so much of their bottom line if the price rises. Therefore, these companies that are actually giving us the silver will give it to us at a slower rate since it's just more profitable for them, also making silver's price rise and also their stock price because earnings are getting higher and higher. Now, silver could also be considered as a safe haven asset since investors are flocking to silver due to the geopolitical tensions. As we observe with Russia and Ukraine, now there is also a conflict in Israel and Gaza, and these conflicts should rise because we are also in a cycle that asks for higher conflicts around the world. Therefore, silver could be seen as an alternative currency similar to gold or Bitcoin, and therefore, if a currency devalues, which is our current outlook for the US dollar, for instance, silver should rise in price. Furthermore, gold is also now getting more and more expensive. We're currently pricing gold at $3,700, and we are thinking that gold price should rise even more. And at some point, and this is what we highlighted in our last videos as well, gold price is going to rise so much that it's going to appear very expensive to the average investor. So they're not going to invest in gold, but they're going to simply look at silver because it's much cheaper than gold. So they will look into an investment into silver, further bolstering the silver price. So how would these components really translate it into the chart? And this is what I want to answer with this video. We think that this is simply going to rise. Now you can see we are in the overbought condition of this current channel. So it is possible that we get some sort of a sideways range where we can also break down and consolidate at lower levels. However, this should result in a sharper price rise after this consolidation is over. So what we are thinking is that we're going to get a short-term correction at the very least, maybe even an opportunity to get into silver at lower prices. Maybe the $40 mark would be an interesting price level here. But after that, we still haven't changed our outlook. And this outlook has been there for multiple years now, which is that silver should go at $50. And this also shows how much you can gain with simply subscribing to our premium service because we don't really change our outlook too often. Moreover, you can sit back and relax as an investor as the daily stresses of the price action are simply taken from you, as our best-in-class analysis actually calls very accurately how macro trends should resolve. Our past videos are the receipts of that, and everyone who is looking to stress-free investing, they should look into our service and simply subscribe because we are good at what we do and we continue to do that year over year. Thank you for your attention. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, share, and favorite this video. If you subscribe to our channel, this will also bolster us in the YouTube algorithm, further increasing our audience. So if you'd like to help us with that, this is completely free, so we would appreciate it if you did that for us. I'm Patrick with Bloomberg Capital. Until next time, goodbye.